know it's Halloween. I guess everyone's entitled to one good scare.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
He's sick. Fox, you've seen one too many.
Who's laughing now?
Who's laughing now?
Hello, welcome to the 404 Films podcast. I'm Carl.
I'm Sive.
And this episode, if you're listening to this, if we got our dates right, I think this is the Halloween special coming to you on... Ooh, I hope it's on Halloween night. Maybe it's on Halloween Eve.
Yeah, it's either going to be Halloween night or Halloween Eve. It just depends when we get it done, because it's probably going to be a long one.
Yeah, we have a lot to talk about tonight because we're talking about the Halloween series. As we promised in our very first episode, we're actually going through with it. We almost didn't because it's so much work and it was painstaking to watch every movie in this series.
From 1 to 11, even including the Rob Zombie versions as well. Like, Jesus Christ.
There's 11 of them, oh my god. And there's so many storylines. How is there that many storylines in it, you know?
Yeah, they got lazy after, like, the 4th or the 5th one. They just started fucking making shit up on the actual...
On the fly. Yeah, like on the fly, yeah. The way we were going to do this was that we were going to talk in detail about each of them, but I don't think anyone wants to listen to that. I don't think we want to do that. There's so much stuff out there that you can, like, everyone's talked about these movies in detail, so you know you can check them out. But I remember just watching some of the bad ones to get started and writing very kind of detailed notes, doing like almost reviews of them, and I was like, I don't know if I can stomach this, you know. I don't know if I can do this. I don't think anyone wants to hear that, nor do I want to do it. So we're gonna talk, I don't want to say briefly, but we're gonna talk kind of about the whole series more as a whole and kind of pick some of our favorites and maybe go through them. Are we going through them one by one? Or?
Yeah, I think I'm going to rank like my top 5 favorite ones because there's 11 and I really did not like all 11 for sure. And I think that if you're as mad about the Halloween and Michael Myers series as we are, I don't think you've probably enjoyed a lot of them either, because they were just, you know, they probably just were able to get funding and they just went on a roll with just making a fuckload of them.
Money,
so yeah.
I'm surprised there's more Friday the 13th movies, just to make another comparison. Every time we're on this podcast, when we're doing it, I feel like we're just shitting on that series as well, Friday the 13th. And I'm waiting for like hate mail. I'm waiting for people to come at us and complain why we don't like it. But I do like it. It's just, I'm shocked that there's more movies, Friday the 13th movies, than there is Halloween. Halloween, you can guarantee there'll be a Halloween every year until 2020. Usually
until fucking 2020, and Halloween gets cancelled, which I want to cry like, ah.
They should make a poster for the new one. I'm not sure if they did, but it's like the whole tagline is, you know, the night he came home, Halloween 2020, the night he stayed in, you know,
the night,
like that. Maybe we should start just talking like a little brief personal account of why we're in love with this series.
I guess like I'm in love with the series because as a kid I thrived on being scared and I loved all this kind of stuff, and then when I found out, and I loved Halloween as a kid, I loved the whole dress up, the whole spooky side of things, I love ghosts, all that kind of stuff. So then when I heard that there was a Halloween movie, Jesus, I shit my pants and I was like, this is the best thing ever. And the first film I watched was the Rob Zombie one. And I was disgusted. I was a kid, but not that I was disgusted. I wasn't a big prude as a child, but I was just like, I know. I mean,
you don't have to be a prude to be offended by that movie, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't think so. I thought it was a bit like fucking weird. So then I was like, I don't know. I wasn't happy. I was like, what the fuck? I eventually found the Halloween John Carpenter 1978, and I was like, oh my God, this is the best thing ever. That was like my journey on the Halloweens. And then I managed to watch number 2. And then I was so into it that I already knew that Halloween 3 wasn't actual Michael Myers. Yeah. So I never watched it. I just skipped it. I was like, no, fuck that. Michael Myers isn't in it. Fuck that. I'm not watching it. So I went on to 4, loved 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, then 9 and 10 we're considering the Rob Zombie ones. Yeah, the remakes, and then the 11 is the 2018 version.
Yeah.
When Michael comes home.
Yeah. That's I mean, I was kind of into horror movies already. I remember catching the end of the whole end sequence on TV once as a kid with my dad and being like, oh, this is interesting, not really knowing what it is. My first kind of main exposure was just getting free ones in the newspaper around Halloween. We got the fourth one in the newspaper, and then we got the fifth one the next year, and I remember watching those and being like, I like these, but it wasn't like, they were just good horror movies. I enjoyed it. It didn't sink in properly until I was in France with my dad on a holiday, and he just bought H2O, the French copy of it, to watch that night off his laptop or something. And I remember just thinking, this is amazing. You know, like, the character of Michael Myers, just the whole thing of that he's this impending doom latched on to me. And then the next day on that holiday, I found for like €2 a French copy of the original movie and sat down and watched it. Oh man. And I was like, as a kid, I was just, again, blown away. I was just like, he is one of the, like, it's weird to describe this type of character as cool, but like, he was like the coolest kind of horror villain, I thought, because he was like Freddy, with like, Freddy's funny, but he's impending and he ain't gonna stop, you know, that kind of thing.
Exactly. There's no, like you just said, that there's no stopping him, but he's invincible.
Yeah.
That's the thing, and it's so fucking scary that you can't get him. You can't kill him. When you think the films are supposed to be finished, he obviously goes back into his locked up in his Smith's Grove, and
or he goes
his
into
asylum
hibernation or something. That's actually a good point. Before we kind of get into any kind of movie, the Smith's Grove thing, I have to say this, and I'm sure other people have pointed this out, but I kind of only realised it on this rewatch when I was watching the fourth one. And that's when they rebooted the series and everything, and they were wheeling him out of the hospital, and he gets back up. And it's like, you're transporting him like 3 days away from Halloween. Why does he always get transferred near Halloween? It happens in the first one, it happens in the fourth one, it happens in the reboot. No, not the reboot, the 2018 one. Stop transferring him around Halloween. Just let him do it in spring, do it at Christmas, you know?
Exactly, like, and because apparently from watching the fifth movie, apparently he knocks out for the whole year.
He goes to bed. He goes to hibernation, which I think is a very scary idea, though. I think I quite enjoy that, you know.
That kind of, it was only rewatching it again because I have seen that movie like many times, but more when I was younger, because I haven't really rewatched it in a while. But number 5, the fact that he like hibernates for a whole year, that is fucking, like, that
it's
means
hilarious.
like he's another entity, like he is not human.
Yeah, and I like the fact that he can put himself at the click of his fingers into a comatose state. That that's why people can think he's dead and everything, you know. I thought that was quite cool. I thought it was a lot more scary that he's out in a cave somewhere or in a shack waiting till Halloween rather than he's in prison. I like the 2018 version. The fact that that's a direct sequel to the first one, and it takes place right after. Well, not right after, it takes place 40 years later, but it's a direct sequel to that first one where after he disappears after falling from the balcony, it follows that story. But the fact that in the context of the new one, he just gets arrested immediately. So it's like the end of the 1978 version is, oh my god, he got away. But in the 2018 one, it's like, no, he's just wandered down the street and then passed out, and then they arrested him and he's been in jail ever since. It completely ruins his kind of boogeyman kind of nature, that like he just disappears all the time, you know? Would it not have been scarier, and given the Laurie character who's now become a doomsday kind of prepper, would it not have given her more weight if Michael did disappear? And
exactly.
It would heighten everything, that like Judy Greer's character, her daughter, would have more weight of being like, no, you're crazy, because this man is definitely dead because he was shot 6 times or 7 times, whatever it was, and he disappeared, but you know, he's never going to come back, he's too old now. Rather than, oh no, he still exists and he's in jail, it's that, why does Laurie turn around and say, no, like 40 years later, tonight's the night he's coming back? That's so much scarier than, oh, he's in jail, we can go see him, you know. Like, he's almost like a Charles Manson character where the podcasters come to see him, and I just didn't think it had the same weight. We met through college, but we had met like in Halloween, the height of the new kind of Halloween buzz, because it was coming out in cinema when we had met.
That's true, that was 2018, so
for me to see him in the cinema in any capacity was cool, and I really did enjoy that movie. Like, Judy Greer, I think she was so fucking good in it, and Jamie Lee was great in it, and the new guy they had to play him, I'm not too sure about the new guy who plays Michael, but he's a stuntman from Buffy. He was fantastic as Michael. He was scary in it, like, you know.
He was freaky. Yeah, no, he had the right movements. No, I'm pretty sure they got Nick Castle as well to play.
Yeah,
from the first one.
I think they did it like that thing with Chewie though for the Star Wars movies, where it was kind of like a bit of a publicity thing where he was there for a few shots but not for the real. I know the stuntman played him when the mask wasn't on him, and I did think they had Michael without his mask far too much in the movie. And a weird thing, I don't know why it bothers me, Michael being balding bothered me for some reason. I feel like that man should have a full head of hair.
I know exactly what you mean. That made me feel really strange because it made me think of him as the guy from Saw. Can't remember your man from Saw, what his
Tobin
name
Bell,
was. But that actor,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, he did look a bit like him, a little bit. Yeah,
it was too like him for me, and I was like, oh, that kind of ruined it a little bit in the cubicles when he's getting the girl, the podcaster girl. Yeah. But I still like that movie. I wrote my fucking dissertation about that movie. So
no, it's really good, and like they did this great thing of having off-screen kills, but when you saw the body, they were very gory, and it was like this kind of really cool compromise of like the Halloween movies aren't very gratuitous unless they're the Rob Zombie ones where they're, I don't know what, they're fucking insane, you know. But when you kind of do an off-screen kill, you live up to it by having this good bit of gore, you know. And I thought his kills in the movie were very good, and I just think he was very scary. But they made Michael quite bumbling in a way, that he didn't really know where he was going or what he was doing. So like they had that really bad doctor subplot, which I think almost ruined the movie for me. Even though I like it, it was with the little pen. Yes, the little knife pen, which is like a cartoon, you know.
Doctor, get back in the car! You killed him. He's dead. Stand back. No. I'm still gonna blow this motherfucker's brains out. Get away. Leave my patients alone.
Yeah, no, I get you, because it kind of got lost in my memory of the Halloween 2018. I didn't really remember that part of the film.
You
so it didn't. Yeah, I probably did, because it's the same with Halloween 5 when they bring in that fucking
the Man in Black
cult thing, the Man in Black. I mean, they literally just they didn't even write that bit into the script. They just filmed that. They just filmed that on the actual day, just out of the blue. We're just like, yeah, let's add this in. It's going to add more depth to the film. Like, what the fuck? That's just bizarre.
It was that just got laughs in the cinema when I saw it, you know?
Yeah.
There's a few things that unfortunately got laughs that they shouldn't have, but I think they were missteps anyway. Because like the whole scene with the doctor and him, and there's the police officer character, who I thought they were building up to be Laurie's ex-husband, but he wasn't, runs Michael down, and that's Michael out. Michael doesn't sit up. The doctor saves Michael.
Yeah.
It's so bizarre because if the doctor hadn't intervened, Michael would have been shot and killed. There's your villain gone. It's when Michael needs his hand held for the entire time. It's like, well, Michael kills the podcasters in the like
he's supposed to be inevitable.
Half an hour. Yeah, like if he's meant to be and it's also they cut out the brother and sister thing. If Michael just points to Laurie's door and is like, I want you, and I'm latching onto you, it would have been better that it just by fate he meets her again. It's not, the fate should be, no, I've chosen you, it's my fate to kind of have you in some weird kind of capacity of like, you know.
Yeah, I would have preferred the brother and sister plot because it would have made more sense. Like when they said that they were getting rid of that plot, I was like, why? Like it's so in depth into the series. I don't know, it just made more sense to me.
When Rob Zombie remade it as well, he took the brother and sister thing, but that was never the intention. I first had the same reaction. I was like, I'm not sure about this, but then I kind of thought to myself, look, the 2018 one is basically Halloween H2O, just 20 years later, you know what I mean? So it's like, they should have just called it H40, really, you know? But if you want a conclusion to the brother and sister one, H2O is a good one, before they ruined it in Resurrection.
Don't even get me started on Resurrection. I didn't even watch that again. Like, I couldn't watch that again. It was fucking awful. Awful. Like, I watched it later on, like, when I was younger, when I was, like, rewatching all the Halloween series, and I realized that there was a number 8. And, oh, fuck me, that's a fucking bad one. Like, it's actually, they basically just, like, they try to modernize it, and it just ruins the whole the whole feeling of Halloween.
It's all in
I
the
don't- was-
early webcams, early 2000s.
Yeah,
and Jamie
yeah.
Lee gets killed in the first 20 minutes.
Exactly, yeah. When she's in an asylum, like, for fuck's sake.
It ruined H2O as well, which I quite liked.
Yeah, H2O was pretty good. Pretty good.
But I think I heard that it was all planned. That was all set up. That the end of H2O, Michael gets his head cut off, and it's really a great moment where you're like, oh shit, that's cool. But it was the whole thing about Michael switched bodies with him and the paramedic. They say they had it planned, and I do believe them that they had a plan since H2O. But Jamie Lee Curtis said, no, let's end it. That let the audience think Michael's dead. But it still doesn't make sense to me because she kicks the shit out of him in that last sequence, and he sits up in his kind of way of sitting up. If this is some guy that he put in his place to take the fall for him, it's like, how are you sitting up like that? How are you taking this amount of punishment? You know what I mean? This is insane,
They really like fucked up the plots.
Oh man,
I really enjoyed the second film as well, Halloween 2.
I
really liked that.
Rewatched it recently, and I think it's one of the best performances of Michael. He is very he walks. There's a really funny scene. It's very scary though, where he just walks through plate glass at such a slow speed. But it's so good.
I saw that. Yeah, I remember that. It's so funny.
Yeah, and the guy who plays him has in that movie has such a great name. His name is Dick Warlock. Now that is one of the best names I think in cinema history. He plays one of the lead androids in Season of the Witch. Very cool stuntman.
Another film that you said you enjoyed. I was shocked when I watched this. I was shocked that you said you liked it when I watched this, because I only watched it like this week, because I never watched it because I knew it had nothing to do with actual Halloween, because I heard when I was younger that that John Carpenter and Deborah Hill just gave them the name. But do you know who the director was? Tommy Lee Wallace. He was the production designer and the editor for the first film. So obviously that was a very low budget one, but
I like Season of the Witch. Now, I hated it as a child because there's this really weird thing. Because I got H2O and I got the first one in France, I have these French copies of the DVDs that have the French subtitles. But then I went to like a GameStop and bought the second one and the third one when I was back in Ireland, when I was in Dublin. Somehow managed to buy 2 French copies of them though that were being sold off in that place, and the box for the third one had Michael plastered all over it, and I was like, okay, I'll buy it. And my dad was like, I'm not sure if he's in this one, but he's all over the box, so I bought it anyway. And when I did watch it, I was like, oh, this is shite. This was as a child, and even getting like trolled by there's a scene in the movie where they're watching Halloween 1 on TV.
The Immortal Classic, followed by the big giveaway at 9.
But over time, I just kind of enjoyed it for what it was, because it's so fucking insane. It's about an Irish witch who builds a bunch of androids to melt a bunch of kids' heads and a bunch of bugs. Like, how did you not find any of that appealing? The bad guy in it was cool. He was so cool.
no, I don't know what it was about the film. I was like, this is just shockingly
He
shy.
was Irish. He was Irish,
I
though.
know. The whole town was fucking Irish, and the accents were so funny.
He's actually Irish, though. I'm pretty sure he's the guy in RoboCop as well. But he said Samhain the right way as well. He didn't say Sam Hain.
Yeah.
And
Sam Hain. And they said Sam Hain in the second Halloween.
They did. They
said,
had Donald
they
Pleasance
saw it
saying
on the board. Yeah.
That bit was
Sam
very
Hain.
cheesy.
What is that?
I thought that was very cheesy in the second movie. Why would he care if it, like...
Yeah, and why wouldn't they have said it right? Why wouldn't they have said it the right way? So anyways.
I think it's an American thing that they pronounce it that way, but I thought your man's speech in the third one, what's his name, Cochrane in it?
Cochrane, yeah.
The rivers would run red with the blood of animals and children.
The Festival of Samhain. The last great one took place 3,000 years ago, and the hills ran red with the blood of animals and children.
And I just thought that was very cool. And then his whole, like, the kid's head melting and the snake comes out of it.
Oh, I hated that. That was like, I get the appeal, but I think it was really horrible. Like, it was scary. Like, I can see why you liked that part of it, but oof.
There's stuff in it that's not good either. There's some cheesy moments. I heard a lot of people speak out about the Tom Atkins love scene, the main character with the girl, and it's just a bit it's a bit uncomfortable,
Yeah, it was uncomfortable and it was really uncalled for as well. It was just like the fact
Not
that
needed,
he's
yeah.
married. It was so not needed. The fact that he was married and it was just so awkward. It was really badly acted as
Technically,
well.
he
Like,
was divorced, or he was in the clear there, but it's not
oh,
excusable
was
for
he?
him preying on somebody who's just lost their dad, you know?
Yeah, and the fact that he was fucking one of the doctors in the
Yeah,
hospital
like the
as well. Like
coroner
that
and
was so.
stuff, yeah.
Yeah,
And he
that
was
was so
groping the
weird. Like,
nurse and everything, yeah.
yeah, no, he was really cheap. I didn't like his character at all. Like he was really just like just going around just thinking with his dick.
Yeah.
Basically like,
Or just
oh, do you want me?
drinking
Like
as well.
he was being yeah, exactly. He was being so like sheepish, being like, oh, do you want me to like, you know,
Yeah.
get my own room? Oh, it made me cringe so bad because I was like, I just feel like I'm just like intruding in something that I don't want to know about.
Don't want to be like, I don't want to be witness to this, you know? I can see where the movie failed though, because they wanted to turn it into like an anthology, and obviously by making the sequel, Michael had come back in one degree. But to talk about the second one again, Michael's not coming back after the end of that movie. And I have problem, like I like the second one. I have some serious issues with it too though. To get technical about it, like this a very cool looking shot when Michael's bleeding out his eyes.
Yeah.
To get kind of technical, Laurie like shoots him twice in each eyeball. The bullet would go through his head or something. Like it wouldn't just create a very cool looking shot. And then he burns to death. He's gone. How did they bring him back? And then Donald Pleasance as well as Dr. Loomis. He was beside one of the tanks. He would have been obliterated. But they both come back in the fourth one. And I do love the mood of that second movie though. It does feel like the part of the first one, and the hospital setting and the skeleton crew is very cool. And then it ends with Mr. Sandman, which I always loved that they were in all the movies. I thought it was very cool. And H2O, it opens up with that.
Is it H2O? It's not Halloween War,
it's
is it?
H2O and the nurse, because they bring the nurse back from the first one who gets killed in the opening. And Joseph Gordon-Levitt's in that too, and he gets the ice hockey skate.
What?
Yeah, like so he was like been working since he was a little kid, and he was in like the TV show Third Rock from the Sun. But I think he was trying to do different things, and he's literally just in the opening of this in a very kind of funny kind of scene, and then he gets murdered in a like the best kind of kill I think in that particular movie.
All right, let's not anyone mess with me here. Jimmy been suspended 5 times this year already for getting a little crazy with the stick, all right?
I remember in that movie as well, Laurie is driving her car and Mr. Sandman comes on the radio and she kind of stops and looks at the radio and switches it off, and I was always like, I don't think you have any context, because it was played like non-diegetically. It just ended the movie like it had, unless
it wasn't actually played in the film.
unless just the lyrics actually kind of reminded her of him, which could have been the case. It's always, people always say it's more of a Freddy Krueger song. I get that. I always liked it being used.
The fact that they never got Michael Myers to die, like ever since I was a kid, I'm having like reoccurring dreams that he is, you know, I'm his sister, he's after me.
I like now that you don't even need to be his sister. He'll just kill undiscriminately. You know what I mean? I kind of really dig the idea that, because I rewatched the first one and I wrote like a load of notes on it, but I think it is probably the scariest one, just in regards to Michael and everything. Like Dr. Loomis and the sheriff basically have this subplot where they're like his hype men, where every time it cuts back to them, it's like, you know, he's really evil. Okay. No, but like he's really evil. It's like, oh shit, okay. And then they did this thing that they don't really bring up as much. I think they did it in the Rob Zombie ones that I wish they did bring up, because it makes him less human. Michael eats a dog in the first movie.
What is that? It's a dog. It's still warm. He got hungry.
Why doesn't Michael eat any more dogs? You know what I mean? Bring that back.
He kills a dog. He kills a dog every film, though.
He loves killing dogs, but bring back him eating animals. I think that's very disturbing, and it's quite, because it kind of shows that he's human in some sense, but it's like maybe they wanted to make it out that Michael doesn't eat. He doesn't need to eat. You know what I mean? Michael, he doesn't eat. Maybe he doesn't shit. You know what I mean? I don't know. Doesn't sneeze. You know?
He's definitely another entity.
Just so many little things I noticed again. Because people kind of very much say Michael has to be this way, and there's so many interpretations of Michael, be it like the Thorn trilogy or the Rob Zombie, like Tyler Mane, big giant Michael. But the first time we see Michael, he's got one of the best setups with like the stormy night where they go and pick him up, and it's again, Loomis is just hyping him up. It's just like, I want him to be on this medication, and he keeps calling him it, not him. It will be on this medication. It's like he won't be able to even stand up. He's like, that's good. And then he does all this ninja shit though when you see him first. He's not silent and he doesn't walk around. He dives on top of the car and he's like a fucking ninja. So
it's such a funny scene. I only watched it on Sunday night, and I showed my friend, and she was wetting herself laughing as well. She was like, because it's like that like it was made in the late 70s, but it's like that 80s kind of
synth. It's like
sound.
All that synthesizers, yeah. But I love the hand cracking onto the window. I thought that was a very good scare. But it kind of made me have this theory that, you know, like Michael's whole slow demeanor and his head tilts. He's very fast the first time you see him. You don't really have any context of him not wearing the mask. So I kind of had this idea of like, when Michael puts on the mask, is he playing pretend? Because he has no affinity to that mask. He has no connection to it in the original. So when it kept getting brought back up throughout the series, it was kind of stupid that like when it was destroyed, he'd find a way to get a new version of that mask. You know what I mean? Like in the fourth one, he gets a new version of his old mask. He has no connection to it. He doesn't care. He randomly picks that mask in the first movie because he just steals it from a shop. It has no importance like the Rob Zombie one, or even the 2018 version. It has importance to him because they have it, and he's like, this is the last thing I wore when I got caught, so he'd wear it. But because he has no kind of affinity for it, when he puts the mask on and it's Halloween night, is he just pretending it's like, is he just playing Halloween because he puts the mask on? And what are you going to do when you put on a mask? You take these kind of slow steps and you try to scare people out. It's like he's pretending to be Frankenstein or something. And if Michael wasn't wearing the mask and he was killing people on a different season, would he be hopping around the place like some fucking ninja? You know what I mean? So it's like I was kind of curious, like, is he just doing this as like this weird fucked up kind of game in his head? Because there's no brother and sister thing. Michael just does stuff very randomly. And there's a great scene in the movie when she's in school and the teacher's giving a quote about fate. And that's the whole thing, that fate brought them together. So that made me kind of think, is Michael just doing this for the crack? You know, that kind of thing. He's just doing it for fun, you know? So he's pretending to be slow and methodical, and that kind of, like he's acting as a character.
Yeah. It's very interesting, actually. I never thought of it like that. I really didn't. I didn't think of it. The fact that he was very athletic in the very beginning of the first film, and then he's this very like straight and does not run. Just where did they get that kind of demeanor from? Like, where did that come from? I'm very interested in that.
I mean, I don't think it holds weight past the first one, but because it's this first kind of movie, maybe, I don't know if that was anyone's intention, but I think it's an interesting thing to bring up, you know?
Yeah, I think so too, yeah.
I know you're saying the brother and sister thing, I like that too, and I was kind of had to get over it when they started the 2018 version, but when I heard this interview with Jamie Lee, when I heard her give her theory about why she thinks Michael just picked Laurie very randomly.
He fixated on a girl he saw walking down this street who was very different than his sister, a girl who was singing innocent song, I wish I had you all alone, just the two of us. He stood there and fell in love with her.
And I really latched onto that theory. I love that.
I think that's interesting for sure, yeah, because she was the virgin.
Yeah, and he just kind of went with her and was like, okay, I want to follow her, and everyone kind of gets killed in her wake. See, this is the thing that it doesn't hold as much weight to it, that because they're not brother and sister, the Laurie character gets kind of weakened. So in H2O, everything was strengthened because she's like PTSD, but like, because, okay, I'm your brother, I'm going to go come and kill you because you're my sister. Everyone that Michael kills on his way there is basically, Laurie could take the blame for it. She blames herself for it because he was looking for me.
Yeah.
He never turns around and explains himself, because he never talks in the original or in the 2018 one, that he was like, oh, I want you. I'm picking you. And without that kind of explanation, she'd have PTSD, but like, I wish it was kind of explained that no, he picked you, he chose you, he wants to kill you for some reason.
Yeah. I completely get what you mean, yeah. It would make it that bit creepier if she knew that he was after her for no apparent reason, just because he had seen her.
Yeah.
And he had latched onto that idea. of her. Like, I think that is scary, and I think they should have explained
They
that
might,
more.
and the
They
fact
might.
that there's two
yeah.
of them coming out, and I was so disappointed when the new one wasn't coming out this year. Like,
I know.
And then it's because like Blumhouse, who I not even just saying this, but I really like a lot of the stuff they've been releasing in the last while, because they kind of released their very much like their popcorn kind of movies, just they're hit or miss, but it feels like they've really they've built up enough credits to dedicate the time to like really going for it. So I think Candyman was going to come out in place of Halloween like this October, and I was like, okay, that's fine, I really want to see the new Candyman. That got postponed as well, so there was nothing coming out, so I have to wait even longer for both of them,
I know. Fucking Halloween's cancelled. Yeah, I feel like they should have established it a little bit better, because I think it really draws you in a little bit more.
It would give her more weight. I thought the Laurie character in the new one was good, and she was very cool. I think they tried to make a lot of cool moments with Laurie, and they kind of worked, but I think the coolest kind of moment was given to Judy Greer when she does the fake out and she gets him with the rifles.
I can't do it! I'm sorry, I can't do it! Gotcha.
I remember seeing that in the cinema, just being like, oh,
Same
that got
here.
me.
That really got me as well. I had only seen it once in the cinema, which is surprising. I usually love going to see the films I love 3 times in the cinema, but I saw that once, didn't watch it again until you had it on in that time in your house when I arrived, and we watched the end of it, and I completely forgot about that bit that she does that fake out.
Yeah, it's so good. It's just such a good, and I think she's really good in it, and I just like her in general. But I remember kind of being more outraged at the end of that movie, because that bit was cool, but I was like, I wanted to see Michael get his head blown off or killed with an axe or something. And then my mate was like, no, but the sequels. And I was like, what are you talking about? And he was like, oh, did you not know there was going to be sequels? And I was like, no, I thought this was the definitive ending. And he was like, no, they're making sequels. And I was so pissed off, because I was like, okay, it's going to be turned into another franchise, and it's going to be shit all over again. Like it's
going to be another 11 movies.
Yeah, basically. And then there's going to be another stupid fake out. I wanted a conclusive kind of ending like H2O, but when I found out that it was a trilogy, I was like, that's fair. But when they announced the trilogy, it came with negatives and positives. Like I'm looking forward that, okay, after the third one it will probably just end, hopefully. But we know going into the second one, Michael's not going to die, so there's no kind of weight there. The other characters I think are fair game. You know what I mean? Like I could imagine them killing Laurie and stuff off.
Yeah, I honestly, because I love the film so much, I guess my first initial reaction was like, yes, they're making more ones. It's never going to end. I love the fact that it's not going to end in that way, but because it makes me kind of sad to think. Because I remember when they had, obviously, number 8 was Resurrection, which was the shit new age fucking webcam stuff.
I enjoyed it as a child. I remember renting it and enjoying it as a child, just because it was an unseen Halloween movie.
It was Michael Myers. Yeah, I get that. But then, so I was kind of sad. I was like, oh, that's the end of it. But then when they had number, what was it? 11. Yeah, well, the 2018 one came out. I was so excited to see that. Jamie Lee Curtis came to Dublin to do a whole question and answers in the Lighthouse Cinema. Yeah. Jamie Lee Curtis posted so much about it, because that girl Sinead Burke, she was the one who was doing the question and answers with her, and she had it all over her Instagram as well. So it was kind of nice to be able to be involved in that sense. But
that would have been cool. I mean, I got to see it in a cool way as well, and it sounds kind of stupid, but I got to see it with a group of friends. I genuinely love going to go see horror movies with a group of your friends, when you can, because none of my friends would be huge horror fans, either that they don't handle scary stuff well, or they don't particularly like the genre. But when you can wrangle a bunch of them together to watch a new one in the cinema, and Halloween especially, because they didn't care about the franchise. I think one of my mates really made an effort and was like, all right, show me the first 2 before we go see it. And we did. He enjoyed them. And we all went to go see that, and just to get a big crowd to go see it, and they all got freaked out, and I was happy to see Michael on the big screen and people getting freaked out by him,
Was that your first time seeing Michael Myers on the big screen?
Yeah, I have this bingo kind of list of seeing some of the classics on the big screen. So back in 2005, I don't know how I did it, I got to see some of the George Romero zombies on the big screen when I was taken to go see Land of the Dead in the cinema. I got to see Chucky on the big screen in the remake. It's not as good. He's not played by Brad Dourif, so it wasn't as good, but it was still cool to see him. And I got to see Michael. I still have to see Freddy. I still have to see Jason, and I have yet to see Leatherface as well. But I'll get them. Yeah, they're bound to make sequels, you know.
Then we have Halloween 4, 5, and 6.
Yes.
So basically, they lent the name of Halloween 3 to Season of the Witch because they thought it would get more views.
It was that they wanted to make it an anthology. So after Halloween 1, they wanted to do Halloween 2, something completely different. And then Halloween 3 would be something different, and it would be basically an anthology series of films. So Halloween would just be a name you slap on it. You know, it's kind of like the best way to
Michael Myers. Yeah.
Yeah, the best way to describe it would probably be American Horror Story. How they kind of went back and they called it Murder House. You could probably say they could go back and call Halloween 1 the Michael Myers, something like that.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of thing, and so on. But they were forced to do a sequel with Michael. And then they started their anthology, and then because Michael didn't appear in
show up,
it bombed.
People were pissed.
People were really fucking pissed off. Yeah.
Too right. So then they were like, "Fuck, we're gonna have to go make another one." I'm glad they listened, and they made Halloween 4. And Halloween 4, I really enjoyed. I loved that whole
I like it too.
idea of Laurie Strode's child. Laurie Strode and the husband had died in a car crash, and the child was left.
I don't like that kind of thing that they've written it off that like, oh, she died in a car accident. It's gone. But Danielle Harris playing her daughter Jamie is a very good stand-in because as a little kid, her and Donald Pleasance carry that fucking those. Well, she's not in the full trilogy, but they carry basically a lot of that trilogy.
Yeah, they did. The two of them, they had such a great bond though. Like even when Donald Pleasance died, he gave her his trailer. But she was great. I thought she was such a good child actor. Jesus Christ, like so good.
She carries that fifth one. That's such a piece of shit.
Fifth one?
I don't mean to be bad, but like she really does carry that. It's unintentionally fucking hilarious as well.
It's really bad. Now, I loved it when I was younger when I watched it because it was Michael Myers, it was Halloween, it was the vibes. That's all I wanted was the vibes, Michael Myers.
It's
but
very
now,
Halloween-y. It's very
it
Halloween-y,
is.
You know? All the decorations.
You do get that feeling off it.
The fourth one and the fifth one nailed it, I think, with the Halloween aesthetic. With like the decorations, the fourth one really nails it though. That opening, like our whole Halloween promo for the series of podcasts was entirely based off that opening of Halloween 4, and I've heard other people talk about how much they love it, and it's so good. The cornfields and everything, like the pumpkin patches, you know.
Yeah, just the ambience of it all, of like the sounds that they have at the start, like the wind and everything is just, it's great. It really is. I love it. Halloween 4 is definitely one of my favorites for sure because of those vibes that they give off.
I think there's a lot to like about the movie. There's some stuff I like more than others, but like the relationship between Jamie and her sister Rachel, it's so good. You know what I mean? I thought the sister relationship, and I think Daniel Harris gives Two-Face in The Dark Knight a run for his money with the amount of time she just screams Rachel over and over again throughout those two movies.
Rachel!
I just love this. Donald Pleasance comes back, and even though it's like bullshit that they both survived, I like that he has like a revolver in the first movies, and now he's upgraded to a semi-automatic pistol because he's not fucking around with Michael anymore. But when Michael first shows up, he has all these bandages over his head, and I actually quite like that look. I thought that was kind of cool for him to look like that, and I was like, maybe they could have kept that for a little bit. But he immediately puts on an exact replica of the mask he had. It must be very popular in the
masks were so bad that they used in the 4th, 5th, and 6th movie.
Yeah.
Just rewatching it, I was like, how did they get this so bad? Like, how did they obviously had money now. The mask in the first one when they had no money was so much better than the 4th, 5th, and 6th.
There was this whole thing, I think, with rights, though, because it was a William Shatner mask.
Oh.
I'm not entirely sure, but because it was like an altered William Shatner mask, that they couldn't use that kind of same type of mask, so they had to keep changing it. But I remember in H2O, there's a sequence in it where he has a CGI mask. Like, I hate how he looks in Resurrection as well. I hate how he looks in... Like in H2O, if you go back and watch the trailer, he has a different looking mask than he does in the actual final film. He looks quite good in that film though, but I hate how he looks in the fourth one. He looks really cheap. In the fifth one, he looks so weird.
Yeah.
And in the sixth one, he looks
So
so
cheap.
funny. Like, he's just so different looking.
In the fifth one, I think it's about 3 shots. It's literally for 2 seconds, but he has an albino mask on. Did you see that? The hair is white. I swear to God, look it up. The hair is white.
The fourth one is where he goes blonde for a minute or something like that. I think it's, they go to like the school or something.
Or maybe it's the fourth one. Yeah, they go to the school.
Blonde.
Yeah,
it's
maybe
so
it's the fourth
funny.
one. For literally 3 quick shots, and then he's back to his normal hair.
There is blonde versions of those masks though, because remember, there's just such I remember just rehashing this with my mate the other day. So I reminded him, and he could not stop laughing. There's a sequence in the second movie where in the first movie they set up that Laurie likes this guy called Ben Tramer, and in the second movie, in the second movie, there's
he
this
blows
kid.
Up.
Yeah.
He came out of nowhere. I couldn't stop. Is it him?
It's like, is that Michael? Because he's dressed like him with the boiler suit and everything, and he walks into the road and a police officer drives straight into him. They hit a van and he explodes, and I was like, he just walked out in front of me. And add insult to injury, it's Ben Tramer as well, the guy that she liked. And then there's a whole subplot that they have to look at his body to get dental records, and it's so funny. It's like unintentionally hilarious. So the fourth one's quite good. It's quite enjoyable.
I like the fourth one.
I have a lot of good moments, you know. Fifth one is really bad. Really, really bad.
Fifth one, that whole subplot of the Thorn, cult stuff. Ugh.
Cult of the Thorn, and the Man in Black, and it was basically they were writing a script as they shot it, and they didn't know how to finish it, and they basically threw a bunch of shit at the wall and see what stuck. And it's just, the whole movie is just bad overall. Like, they have terrible characters in it, and like they immediately make the Rachel character, the sister character, really kind of sexualized. Like they're looking at her shower, and I got it. Like, I kind of took it as in the theory, I'm giving the movie more credit than it deserves, but I was like, okay, she's not going to be the final girl in this one, so because she's not the final girl, is that why we're getting to see her like change and have a shower? But at the same time, it didn't feel appropriate because she was such a enjoyable, likable character. She gets killed in fucking 10-15 minutes into the movie.
She was even pissed off about that though, because she was a really likable character in the fourth one, and she was like really down to earth and stuff, and then they completely made her into a ditzy idiot in the fifth one. And I can't remember the actress's name, but she was like, what the fuck, this is bullshit.
Yeah, it didn't feel like it played to the rules of the slasher movies of like, if you have sex you'll die. It was just like, we're watching like a fly on the wall of her just showering and changing, and it's just like, this isn't good. It just feels stupid. And it was just, and then her ditzy kind of friend takes over, and she's so terrible. Tina is a terrible character, but it leads to one of the most funny scenes in the whole series. Danielle Harris's character Jamie has these like psychic links to Michael.
Yeah.
So she keeps having these episodes, but her and a kid with a stutter both are trying to say her psychic link of where Tina is, and she's just repeating "cookie woman," and then look at Donald Pleasance, the actor, you know, the big renowned actor from The Great Escape, is just "cookie woman."
Cookie woman.
Cookie woman.
It's so funny. It's one of the funniest sequences in it.
No, I was laughing at that one as well. And then they just show up straight away, and Tina's still in the car park of the gas station.
That setup
that was so bad.
The boyfriend called Michael.
Yeah, that was.
You
bad.
could have done that
really
without
bad.
calling the boyfriend's name Michael. So it's this whole joke, but like you could have done that without calling the boyfriend a completely different name.
Exactly, it didn't make sense to have him called Michael, because Michael Myers still would have responded even if she was like, "Oh, Joe," or whatever, you know.
The fifth one also had a very explicit sex scene that didn't have any nudity, and I realized when I rewatched it.
Which one?
They have a sex in a barn, and all the characters in it are idiots. They're all they're all just dickheads and idiots. They keep scaring each other in really bad jump scares and fake out scares, and they think it's funny to do a Michael Myers prank, even though it's like you have
On the cops.
And like the character Tina has such a point of connection to the Michael Myers murders. You know what I mean?
And
But,
she
like,
doesn't give a fuck, and it
doesn't-
pisses me off.
She doesn't care, and then just they have sex in the barn, and there's no nudity, but it's really explicit because it goes on a long time, and he's there and he's fumbling with the Johnny and everything. It's just like, wow, you've really gone out of your way to be kind of quite explicit with this, yet not showing any fucking nudity, but you're going to show nudity on to Rachel in the shower in the opening scenes,
Yeah.
the final girl of the first movie. Like, what the fuck, you know?
But then they obviously have that whole the man in black who kicks the dog, and it just that's like the symbol that it's connected to Michael Myers because he's mean to dogs. I thought that was funny.
Yeah, and then like he does the prison break with the machine gun.
Oh my god, that was awful. That was awful. And then the sixth one, Jamie is older now.
Luckily, they don't bring Danielle Harris back for this one.
She said she wasn't doing it because they wouldn't fucking pay her properly. Too right.
No, that's so weird. Because the context of this movie is fucked up. This movie's fucked in general. There's like a producer's cut. Usually you don't get a producer's cut, you get a director's cut, and then there's a theatrical cut. And this is when the Weinsteins came into it, who are just fucking scumbag, horrible people, and the series obviously went downhill because of their involvement, you know.
Too right, yeah, it was an awful movie. Unfortunately, though, Paul Rudd was in it, and he's amazing.
Paul Rudd, I think I love Paul Rudd. I like my kind of first introduction to Paul Rudd was through like Friends and the movie I Love You Man.
Slapping the bass, man. Slapping that bass, man. I slapping that bass.
Please don't do that.
So I'm
same.
a really big fan of Paul Rudd, but he is so terrible in this movie that made me gain so much more respect for him. That he's so terrible. You could understand completely that a guy would have this role where he has nothing to work with, and his career just doesn't take off after this movie. That's his one and done kind of thing. But the fact that Paul Rudd could become Paul Rudd after this movie was released just shows how good of an actor he is, because he gives immediately he's established to be a peeping Tom, not even like the innocent kind of like, oh, I was looking through, because he's spying through his camera at the main character undressing, and it's not even like, oh, I accidentally caught a glimpse of you. She sees him and he just proper gives her like Manson lamps, staring at her like, yeah, I'm looking at you. It's just like, okay, this is the love interest kind of character in a way. It was
and the fact that she comes in and he's sitting in the bedroom with a child, with a baby in his arms,
and then
with her kid in the kid's bedroom.
So
really
weird.
Fucking weird.
Unfortunately, this is Donald Pleasance's last movie.
He died just before they wrapped,
and they dedicated to him, and it's really disrespectful as well, because I heard the Weinsteins, they recut the movie and they cut a lot of his scenes because they thought it was boring, and I was like, that whole dedication means nothing. You know what I mean? You're cutting him out, and because both cuts of the movie don't look good. You know what I mean? They're both kind of stupid looking, and they're both very goofy. It gets proper into the cult, and his old doctor. God, what was the doctor's name in it? I can't even remember. He's one of the passing characters in the first movie. Turns out to be the Man in Black. And then there's a whole cult supporting Michael, and a voice that they all hear like, "Kill for me," like her. I actually don't even, I'm lost for words. I don't know how to talk about this movie. It's just too...
They're relatives of the Strodes because they are Strodes.
I didn't even realize that until this time around.
Yeah, same Strodes. Here. They didn't really establish that very, very obviously. And then the Man in Black is telling the child, kill for him. Fucking weird.
Any, kill for him.
It's evil that they have to put into a new kid. So it's not only, so this whole thing that the Jamie character has a baby in it. She's played by a new actress, and she's trying to run away. She gets killed within the first 10 minutes. In the producer's cut, it's very much said that the baby is Michael's, that he raped her. Terrible fucking idea. In the theatrical cut, they were kind of leaning on that he was made through science, the baby. Was he like a test tube baby or in a lab or something? I haven't a fucking clue. Michael gets killed at the end of it by Paul Rudd with a lead pipe. He bleeds green goo. Fucking insane. And not in a good way. It's shit. Like, it's just nonsensical. The editing is terrible.
Yeah.
the performance of Michael Myers is quite poor as well. He gives little kind of skips when he walks, which I think is
I
very
agree.
funny.
Yeah. I didn't think it would the perform like it's actually you have to really have it down to a T, and I think that's why they probably brought Nick Castle back a little bit for, and like I know you said that he was probably only in a few shots, but I think that's why to really get the movement of Michael Myers right, because it wasn't right in those films.
Having Nick Castle there probably helped a lot, and I think the new guy, he's fantastic as him. He does seem like, I mean, I know I had a problem with him not having hair, but he feels like Michael again, you know what I mean?
Yeah, he does, exactly, the rigidness.
When Michael's the only character coming back that you remember, like, I mean, I know Donald Pleasance is in it, but he's very tired in the movie, and you can forgive him. They were meant to kill him off in the fifth one, and there's no Daniel Harris to carry the movie, you know what I mean? No, it's a really whimpery kind of ending to that.
It is, isn't it? And I definitely understand what you mean when you say about Donald Pleasance. Like you could tell he wasn't well.
He was done with it,
Yeah.
and like it was cool that he came back. He seems like I love him. I think he's a fucking amazing actor. I actually saw a movie with him recently. I remember describing it to you, and you were just like, "Where the fuck do you find these movies?" It was called Deathline. Where it's about a guy living in the English tube station, going around eating people, and he played. Oh,
yeah, I was
so
like,
good.
what the fuck?
So good. Daniel Harris does come back for the Rob Zombie saga, which was for almost 10 years, was the end of the Halloween franchise, which was very depressing, I imagine, to some people. What's your take on it?
Oh, don't even get me started on the Rob Zombie films. I actually just really don't like them. I don't think there's any need for a lot of the stuff, a lot of the pornographic stuff in it. It just, they go
That's
too
the right
far.
word
like,
for it, though. Pornographic
it
is the right word for it, I think.
I'm all for like fucking sex and stuff in movies, but I think it's weird. They do it in a weird way, and I don't like.
It's gratuitous.
Yeah.
Rewatching some of them there for this, not the full movies, but the best way for me to describe the Rob Zombie ones, and I've never done it, and I don't mean to insult anyone who has done it, but I feel like the whole Rob Zombie ones are like doing crack. They're messy.
Yep.
They're bloody.
Mm-hmm.
They involve nudity most of the time.
Yep.
And they're confusing. And that's what I feel like doing crack would be like. And that's what I feel like these are. So that's
I couldn't agree more.
That's my kind of, and I'm saying that as a fan of them. I mean, I like the first one. And I'm a Rob Zombie fan. I like his music. I don't like his later movies. I love Devil's Rejects, though. And I love House of a Thousand Corpses.
I like Devil's Rejects, but I think Rob Zombie, why did he remake Halloween? He ruined it.
He was told to, like, he was asked to remake it, and I get that, and I feel like he was told, he's got his blessing to make it his own, but at the same time, you cannot ignore a backlash when you're remaking something and you make it as so much within your style, because everyone is a dickhead in that universe, everyone is very vulgar, immediately they're like, I'm gonna jack off on your fucking tits, bitch. It's like, why is everyone such an asshole?
Kids, we'll have a good fucking time.
I will.
I hope she likes cripples.
Bitch, I will crawl over there and I will skull fuck the shit out of you.
Oh, I'll get the crutches for you.
He made them really trailer trash and just really exactly vulgar and just not nice people, like such unlikable people.
Yeah.
And you don't feel really that sorry for them. And like the fact that the mother kills herself and stuff like that, like it just made it really,
it's very
nasty. Grim.
It's very
really nasty. Yeah, and I hated that about it.
I never bought as well. The young Michael being the blonde. This is another thing, and again, I'm saying this is a fan of Rob Zombie, so you know if there is anyone that likes them, don't give out to me. But his movies, and particularly the Halloween movies, have a smell of BO to them in the sense of like they've got the long hair. Everyone in the house long hair. They all have that metalhead BO smell to them.
You can smell it from the screen. You can smell
the movie that they have that like heavy metal BO, but like he has this, I think, very bad habit of making every character in it look like him or look like a fan of his. So every character has long hair. Like even all the characters, like Bob has the long metal hair and he looks like he's pulled from the 70s, even though the future bits are 2007. But then like Michael as a kid, he's wearing like a Kiss t-shirt and he's got the long blonde hair. And no way do I believe the kid who plays Michael, he's also the French kid in Hancock, if you've ever seen that movie, grew up to be the fucking 6'10" Tyler Mane, you know what I mean? I do like Tyler Mane's performance in it, he's very scary, but I just don't buy it. And the second movie goes further into this the fucking weirdness. I do really enjoy the first remake because there's lots of elements I dig in it. Like I love the horror cameos. Like Ken Foray is in it, Danny Trejo is in it, Bill Moseley, like Malcolm McDowell plays Loomis in it, and I think he was the best choice to play him. I think he killed it as Loomis in it. And then I think Daniel Harris getting that role again, coming back, and it was very cool to see her come back as a...
Who did she play again in it?
She plays Annie. Very gratuitously, though, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's coming back to me now.
In the original, Annie just talks to her boyfriend Paul and being like, oh, you know, we're going to meet up later, and oh yeah, we're going to have sex and all this kind of stuff. And it's done very subtly. But in this one, it's just this whole gratuitous scene where literally he's on top of her and it's just like, are you going to fuck me? It's like, oh, I'm going to fuck you so good. It's just like, I don't need to see it. Like, I don't need to see this. And it's not, I don't, like... I've heard a lot of people be like, it's so weird because, you know, we saw her as a kid. I don't really care about that because it's like Daniel Harris is a grown-up now. She obviously signed off on it. It's her decision on what she wanted to do in the movie. But I get how some people find it weird. But I just find it like it was so unnecessary to have nudity in that sequence after just seeing like a full nude scene from the Linda character in this remake. And then... Sorry, let me just talk about some of the points I like before I go into a rant about it. I really enjoyed Brad Dourif. He does the voice of Chucky as the sheriff in it because he spends most of his time with Malcolm McDowell. And I'm a big fan of two of those actors because Malcolm McDowell is obviously Clockwork Orange. So to see them kind of go around together was quite cool. You didn't see this movie probably in cinema.
No. Jeez, I was only like 11 when I was in 2007.
I actually remember seeing a picture of Michael in the remake in a magazine for like wrestling. And asking my cousin to go up to like, this is back in, I don't know when, but like going up to like a DVD shop, like an Extra Vision, asking for the remake of Halloween. And the guy turned around to him and was like, yeah, that movie doesn't exist. And my cousin was like, well, I feel like an idiot now. Turns out it was being made. It was like pre-production stills and shit that I had just seen in a magazine. I was like, I am going to go rent this.
Yeah, that's gas. I did that before with High School Musical. I thought the second one was out, and I went everywhere trying to find it, and they were like, this isn't made. What are you talking about? Yeah.
For some reason, the director's cut is the only version released on DVD over here. I'm pretty sure. I think the versions on TV are the cut version, and I've never properly seen the theatrical cut version, which sounds much better because I'm going to talk about it and I think it should be addressed. There's a completely unnecessary, gratuitous scene where Michael escapes, where two of the prison guards bring a woman in the hospital into his room and rape her in front of him, and that's how he escapes.
I fucking hate that.
There was no need for it. In the theatrical version, there's this bit where Michael is getting transported again, and he gets transported by a bunch of horror icons. So like Tom Towles is in it, and Bill Moseley and stuff like that. And I was like, okay, I'll watch this. This is cool. Never got to see that version. Got to see the really nasty fucking rape scene that's put in it for no reason. That goes on far too fucking long. That's particularly... I mean, every fucking rape scene is gonna be pretty gratuitous, but this is... It's too much, like
really nasty, really big trailer trash characters as well in it. This is one of the reasons why I hate those two films.
I think it's Lou Temple.
Halloween's.
It's the country western singer from Devil's Rejects who's in it as well. So he's a very good actor. I really like him, but like it's just a very fucking unpleasant scene. Like
I hate it. One of the reasons I was like, fuck this, I'm not watching it. Like I fucking hated it.
And it's quite early on in the movie too. It's like 20 minutes. Like it's. So it's like a half an hour of build up with the young Michael, and then it goes into that, and it's not a good, like, it's just stupid. It's just unnecessary. And then the gratuitousness kind of continues throughout the movie. Lots of just naked women getting killed. And then at the end, like the movie ends pretty conclusively where she shoots Michael in the head. And then there's a sequel to it where they never really establish how Michael survived. He just is, and it's Hobo Michael goes full throttle Rob Zombie music video, and Sherry Moon Zombie comes back on a white horse, and it's really nonsensical and very much like a music video, and I dig a lot of it, like just watching it. But as a Halloween movie, it's terrible, and there's more gratuitousness where characters swear.
One fucking day at a time. You know what, if I hear that fucking phrase one more fucking time, I mean, she just fucking sits there in her fucking leather chair and judges me like she's fucking God.
Laurie becomes a big metal head in it. I do like that they go to a Halloween party dressed as the characters from Rocky Horror Picture Show. that made up for a lot of it. That movie's a big hot mess.
I don't remember that bit at all because I was like, I probably didn't watch it. I was
Yeah,
like,
no, you
this.
probably repressed that one too. Like, that's Hobo Michael, and
Yeah.
he talks in it.
Michael, for God in heaven, die! Oh!
And he just looks like Rob Zombie. He's got a huge big beard, and I don't think he wears the Michael mask that much, and then he has hallucinations of his mom on a white horse, and Dr. Loomis is a dickhead in it, and it's just fucking shite, like. And it was such
it's not
again, a
Halloween.
whimper to the series. So hopefully the next two will be really good, because you gotta go out strong and just kill Michael definitively. Don't bring him back. Let him be, you know. End well, end on a high note, and just end it, you know. Can you give your like top three?
Number one is inevitably going to be the 1978 Halloween, the very first one,
Sure, yeah.
because that's just how it is. It's the start of the whole Michael Myers saga, and then my second favorite one is number 4, because it really gets those vibes of Halloween, and it keeps
the mood going.
It does, and it keeps Michael Myers. He's
back.
He's very Michael
yeah,
Myers.
He's back
in that.
at it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's cool to bring him back.
I like that. And then my third favorite is the 2018 version, because it's back to Laurie Strode and it links back to that stuff. I know there's a lot of changes and stuff in the plot, but the fact that they keep the saga going and it replaces the Rob Zombie ones, I'm like, yeah, you're my favorite. What about you?
Definitely the first one. There wouldn't be anything without it. I think the first one, I'm gonna have to say H2O / the 2018 one, because the 2018 one is not without its faults to me. And I feel like that and H2O are basically the same film in regards to, okay, we've waited another 20 years, let's bring Laurie back. And I love H2O for atmosphere and everything. So I think I'm going to cheat it and say both of them for different reasons.
Yeah.
And then I think the fourth one as well, though. I think the fourth one would cap off my list, because it has that thing of, there is not an October that will go by without me watching that movie for atmosphere alone.
Yeah, just even to watch the opening scene of that is just fantastic. Everyone should watch the opening scene of each Halloween film and just see all those vibes and why everyone loves it. I think even the 5th and 6th one.
Yeah, I'll get a cool title sequence, I think, out of almost all of them. And the font for all the movies is very cool. Watching the new one in cinema, the 2018 one, that opening was amazing. Not the bit in the asylum, that was stupid, I didn't like it, but the bit when the pumpkin is rotten and it's shot in reverse, so cool. Got me very hyped.
But yeah, that's our Halloween special podcast, so I hope you've enjoyed listening to this and our opinions on what we think of the Halloween franchise.
Yeah, hopefully you enjoyed that. You can follow 404 on Facebook. You can follow 404 on Instagram at 404 Films. You can follow me at Instagram at Carl_director. I'll change that name eventually.
And you can follow me on Instagram at the Silver Screen. Yeah, happy Halloween, guys.
Happy Halloween, everybody. Enjoy your lockdown Halloween. Try to get as spooky as you can make it.
I hope you have your Halloween decorations up, because if you don't,
you will be haunted immediately.
Yeah, Michael Myers is after you tonight if you don't have your Halloween decorations up. That's why he comes after the people who don't have their Halloween decorations up. Did you know that?